We're on episode 5 now of the podcast, and I want to thank everybody for the feedback that they've given. The noise, as an example, the sound, as an example, is something that needed to be addressed. It wasn't at the right levels, and we've been able to take that feedback and adjust it. So hopefully you're hearing this now crystal clear. Also, topics. Many people have come up with new suggestions around topics, around the style in which the podcast needs to be delivered, and of course, how it helps and supports people. So this week's podcast is around exactly that, feedback, and why feedback is so important to your business, how you can set yourself up to receive positive feedback, how you can manage feedback that may not be as positive as you would have liked, and how you can see the things that need to be addressed when feedback is given in the wrong way. So, let's get into it. Your challenge. I'm going to challenge you during this podcast, as I do in every podcast, to take something away from this and action it today. And that will be around how you gain feedback. So very simply, we know a lot about our business. We get very comfortable with what we are doing within business, and as such, don't necessarily see things from other people's perspectives. So one fantastic way as business owners to do that is to create environments where we receive feedback. Now that can be as simple as asking a question. What did you think of this? My favourite one, what do I do? If you go away today and do nothing else but ask 5 people who you know will give you honest feedback, what is it you think I do in my business? You'll be surprised at the results that come back. Is this something that I work with in my client meetings often? And the results can be quite shocking and very interesting for the people asking the questions. Because we presume people understand our business and what it is that we do. But more often, we ourselves presume we understand our own business. And we think that we are explaining our business in a manner that everybody would understand, because who wouldn't? And that's because you know too much. And this is where that 2 steps back comes in. You can take 1 step back and you're still in your industry, you're out of your business, and you still understand all the nuances and acronyms and expertise areas within it. But if you take that 2nd step back, you lose all of that, and you're now in the realm of where a client or a potential customer might be. So asking people for that feedback of what they think that you do, or how you make people feel, is vitally important. For me personally, I think it's incredibly important to understand what people say about you when you're not in the room, because that's the true you. That's the true meaning. Are they speaking positively? Do they roll their eyes when you come into a room? Do their eyes light up? Do they speak about your business and yourself as someone that's knowledgeable, friendly? So finding this out is vital. So that's your first challenge. Go and ask 5 people what you do in your business and see what happens. Leave comments below and do message me directly with some of that feedback, because I imagine it'll be quite interesting. What other ways then can we look at feedback? Well, I think for a small business, the number one thing that we can see from feedback in our minds is a feedback form. Sometimes we have these on our website. What did you think of our service today? Rate us out of 5. We see reviews on Amazon and videos and Netflix and all other means of communication and sales regularly. In fact, most people buy from other people's reviews. Well, this is all feedback. Would you go to a 1-star restaurant? Would you watch a movie that someone had written, worst thing I'd ever seen? No, probably not. Maybe you would. But normally we make our decisions, a lot of the time now, it's 2024, based off of other people's views. Now, when you've taken those steps back to realise that you do make those decisions based off of other people's reviews, testimonials on LinkedIn as an example is another one for a business perspective, or testimonials that people put on their websites and on LinkedIn in general, we can really then see how important this is for other people, because we think about this a lot ourselves. So a feedback form that says rate us out of 5 is always great and allows room for people to write a little synopsis or a little review of you or a testimonial is great. But does it truly set up the right environment for honest and open feedback? Not necessarily. That is really great for that advertisement, that post that you're going to put out, or that quote that you're going to put on your website, sure. So to the outside world and from a sales and marketing perspective, that is a great piece of feedback, and one that we all need. In fact, we should be seeking those kind of feedbacks on a monthly basis to show continuity and that we haven't fallen off or changed, or our business has gone downhill and suddenly there's a 5-month gap with no testimonials. So do think about how you can incorporate that regularly into your day-to-day. I'm talking about the real tangible feedback that can help elevate your business, identify weaknesses, and find areas of growth opportunity. You have to create the right environment for that feedback. I was at an event recently and I asked 5 people on my Wise Up Wednesday events we changed the format a little bit. We had a different lineup and I wanted some genuine feedback as to which one people preferred, the original format or the new format. For me, it was great to understand which one resonated most with the small businesses that were attending, because the event isn't for me, it's for those businesses. I want to make sure that I'm always elevating the scenario, elevating the event, and then elevating the experience that people are getting to make sure people want to come and it's something that's still worth people coming for. And then I can see what I can add into things to make that better. However, it had been a long day and I didn't set the scenario up for success. So I literally just said, which one do you prefer? The normal panel environment or this new 30-minute talking environment? And very quickly, everyone just gave their, oh no, I like both response. That was the instant response that you get. Think about it. What response would you give when asked that question? What response do you give? Normally, it's very neutral. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. We want to encourage our fellow peers in their endeavours. We don't like to see people, or we know don't put people down. Don't say anything negative. So we say a very neutral response. I liked both. They've both got their advantages. I liked this one because, and I like this one because, and they give the reasons for that. But that's not helpful. Yes, it's great to know, but actually where's the truth? Which one is the one? So that's going to make the difference, that's going to have that growth, that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. And maybe sometimes a bitter pill to swallow, because that's our work, that's our time and effort going in. And someone may say, I don't like that one because I didn't find it engaging, or the talks were too long, or the format didn't work for me because it wasn't as intimate as normally was. These are all growth opportunities, not negative feedbacks. So now we have to look at the questions that we ask around making sure that we get the right answers. And that's all in the setup. So now think about when you're asking that question around feedback, try a different approach. Let the other person know it's okay. I'm after that feedback. As an example, I've tried a different format today, and I'm trying to see which one is best for small businesses as I'm trying to grow and I'm trying to enhance the offering so that I can help my business and others around me. Which one did you prefer, and what was the reason you preferred it? Now we've changed that surroundings and we've set ourselves up for an environment that hopefully the person opposite us can see why we're asking for the feedback. They can now understand the reason why it's important that they give open and honest feedback, and they're much more likely to choose and give us their honest opinion based off of the surroundings that we've just set up and the environment that we have created that has given them a safe space to be open and honest. If we can do the same if we would like to find out what people would change. A lot of the time we will say to somebody, what would you change about that? How was the session? If you're working business to business and you have conversations with people and you say, how's everything going? The initial human response is fine. Yeah, good. No different to when people ask, how are you? Straight away, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm okay. You? We deflect straight away. Whereas actually we want to try and create an environment that allows for more conversation so that we can get more information and we can utilize that information to drive our business and to make informed decisions. So instead of just asking somebody, how are you? You may add into that a little bit and give them something back. How are you? Is a great starting point because it's the one that we always go to. But actually, what do we add? As an example, I've been really busy this week and I have seen 2 or 3 new clients and I've had a couple of inquiries come in, but that's made me a little bit busy. How are things with you at the moment? What are you seeing in your business? What's keeping you busy this week? What type of clients are you working with? They're going to give you that feedback. These are the type of clients I'm working with. And they may even resonate. Oh, I know what you mean about being overworked slightly. I've got a lot on at the moment as well. Well, to most service-based businesses, that's really interesting information and great feedback because they've just fed back that they're busy. And that might mean that you have a service or an offering that allows you to provide that offering to them that reduces the amount that they have to do because you can take something from them, potentially do it better, potentially find out those pinch points. And from your own business perspective, they might delve more into what you're doing. Yes, I've noticed you're busy at the moment. How is everything? Are you okay? Well, that's also feedback. Maybe the feedback to there is, and I had this recently, you're doing an awful lot at the moment. You seem to be everywhere, was what somebody said to me in conversation. Now, I could have just taken that remark as a, yes, I am. There's a lot going on. I'm really busy at the moment, but things are great. And moved on and not thought about it. But I'm looking for these types of feedback. So what I actually heard was, you look like you're too busy. Potentially I might look like I'm too busy or I've taken on too much. And I may need to address how that is being seen and understood by other people. Because I do have a lot going on. There are lots of things happening. But it's all part of a plan and it's all part of the growth of the business. So that allowed me to listen to that feedback and readdress things so that I could, moving forward in my content and when I'm talking to people, almost lead with an understanding that people may feel like I'm too busy. So I asked more people, have you seen a lot of my content recently? Have you been seeing what I've been up to? Because I wanted to understand if it was just one-off or 3 or 4 people had seen it. And actually, the feedback came through. Yes, people had seen what was going on. Yes, people had seen the different bits and pieces that were there. And people were, 1, a little bit concerned over the amount of work I was taking on. And 2, really pleased and excited and wanted to know more information about certain areas. So with that feedback, I can now manage how I start conversations, how I lead conversations to help people to see that I'm in control. How can you do that? What information and feedback are you being given? Because it's happening all the time. You send an email, you don't get a response. That's feedback. The feedback is, this wasn't for me, I didn't engage, I haven't got the time at the moment, maybe I don't read emails. There's lots of areas of feedback that we can do. Send 100 emails, no one replies. That's probably a bigger indicator that the messaging or the communication within your email isn't right. It hasn't got the right tone. It's not hitting the mark. At that stage, then you can use that feedback to alter your message or to go out and ask further questions to try and understand what might resonate and where you are missing the point and why people aren't engaging with it. Gaining other people's feedback is so vital and brutal, because if you send 100 emails and you get no response, quite demoralizing. But actually, if you utilize that as feedback, you'll see it from a different angle. I had a client recently who was trying to find a new way to do videos. So they were looking at different lighting, they were looking at different sounds, they were looking at the environment they were in and whether they were bringing in more people or not bringing in more people into those videos. Well, most of them failed. But that was the plan. The plan was to fail. The plan was to weed out the ones that didn't particularly work by getting the feedback from algorithms, as an example, that says one performs better than the other. So this is what we need to be looking out for all the time. Feedback is everywhere and all around us. But we have ways to look out for it, to open our eyes, to take those 2 steps back and start to see it as it truly is. Because we can get into our own heads at the same time. And if things aren't going according to plan, or you're not getting the responses that you're looking for, ask for feedback. And create the environments that allow people to give you open, honest feedback because they understand the reasons why. We are on social media seeing feedback all the time. A feedback on a post. Great, thank you for engaging. That was really helpful. Brilliant. And then you go back again. Now, we do get feedback that is negative. We might hear something that someone says about us, or somebody has overheard a conversation and talked about us. Now, personally, I think it's quite good to be talked about when you're not in the room. It means you normally have stood up for something, you have a value that is important to you, and you're willing to put your head above the parapet a little bit and speak out. We can see it with larger celebrities and larger influencers that the moment that they stand up for something, someone will stand up for the opposite. It's the world we live in. That's okay. To be mean, to be spiteful, to be nasty, completely unacceptable. We are seeing that, and sometimes that happens as well. Happened on a post of mine recently. I had put a post on around my views on being a jack of all trades, and someone came back with a very nasty message on there. And we're human and we have feelings, and for a moment it did take me aback. It's the first bit of trolling I had received. But actually, when you do take it back, what are you in control of when you're thinking about that feedback? And what is the feedback? Well, the feedback was one person didn't agree with what I had said. One person had put that feedback back in a manner that wasn't constructive, wasn't helpful, and could potentially be a little upsetting. So what am I in control of here? Well, I'm in control of my emotions, but I'm also looking at the person that did this feedback. I didn't know them. So I'm thinking, well, actually, would I take any advice from this person? Probably not. So then do I value that feedback? Not necessarily. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and that is fine. If lots and lots of feedback is coming back in a not so positive manner, then maybe we have to look again and take those steps back and think about what we're putting out there and how it is being received, because that again is feedback in itself. But these isolated incidents or people talking behind people's back that isn't feedback. That's something I want to be clear. I think that people see that as feedback and as negative feedback, but actually that's just gossip. It's people talking, it's people potentially seeing what you're doing and thinking, I wish I was doing that, but I'm not. So rather than rise up to your level, they're trying to bring you down to theirs. We haven't got time for that, because we've got a plan, we've got our goals, and we're driving our business forward. So we might have a brief moment, a little brief lapse, and just think, I feel for them, that they've got to feel like they've got to do that, and then we move on. But feedback in whole is something so positive for businesses. We see it all around us, and we want to create environments where we are lapping that feedback up. Because I use feedback and data as the same kind of words. We haven't got tangible data that says how many people opened up our emails, or how many people have seen our post and are thinking about using us, or they're not thinking about it, because we don't know what people are thinking. We can get an idea through feedback in all these different guises and then we can utilize that to drive and grow our business. The growth platform that I'm putting up, for an example, is being built because people said that they wanted to access to a business coach even when they were first starting out, when they potentially couldn't afford it. So I listened to that feedback, and we've created something because there was enough of it to help and support that. But one piece of feedback isn't worth actioning. Try and quantify any feedback that you get. Pick at that thread a little bit. It's up to you to create those environments, and it's up to you to be looking for that feedback. So do take time to reflect. Do take time to take those steps back. Stop and think about that, working on the business moment where you can look and think, what feedback have I actually gained this week? We've had more people come to our venue. We've had more people come to an event. I've had more clients sign up. How many people are looking at your website? How many have commented on your posts? How many positive interactions have you had, or questions about your business? Or how quiet it is? All of that is feedback. And it's up to us and our responsibility and accountability as business owners to be putting ourselves into those uncomfortable positions where we can hear things that are not all positive about our business, but that allow us to grow. So, as I said, your challenge is to go out and ask those 5 people about what they think about your business as a starting point. And when you get that back, think about the next questions you can ask as well. And I'll see you on the other side.